getting ready to replace this one wall. It's got water damage and termite damage. So what we're going to do is cut it at the 48-inch line and then just replace it en masse and put a new frame on it and stick a new stucco exterior hardy board stucco on the outside. Well, it's getting late afternoon. The sun's in the wrong position to be filming, but we'll do our best here. So this is the opening. It was damaged OSB and damaged hardy board on the outside. Termites had gotten in through an area down here where the conduit and the wires had come out. It was not sealed at all. So I'm gonna have to seal this up. We replaced the wood that was attached to the block. Put in sleeve anchors. That sucker's in there, it's not going to go anywhere. And I had to replace the top board. It was also damaged by termites. I did not use sleeve anchors. I had to go up on top and put in a sister board for the 2x4 that was running along the ceiling to give me enough wood to screw into. That's why it looks kind of funky. And what I'm going to do, as soon as I get more adhesive sealant, because you can see this, I'm going to shove some sealant in here the whole length, and of course screw this in. And I doubled up on the studs here. I don't know if you can see because of the sun, hopefully. So doubled up on the studs, one to support the current existing exterior, and then one to support the new, which is right here, just waiting to go up as soon as I get that sealed down there. And then once we get it all screwed in and sealed with adhesive, we'll get the hardy board cut and get that up. And I think that's going to be it for this one area. Not much else to do with it. Then on the interior, we've got some moisture resistant drywall that we have to put up. But before we do that, we have to make every one of these studs true, because a lot of them have twisted. So there's a high point on the edge of the stud. It's on almost every single one. So I've got to use either a angle grinder and just knock them down, or plane them. But a lot of them also have these very, oh, you can't see it here so much. I'm looking for an example. Well, I think I've pulled them out here. But a lot of them have very fine nails that had gone in and then broken off because of the paneling that they'd put on top. It was major El Cheapo paneling. I don't know what else to call it. And it had gotten water damaged. This is the area that the water was coming in. But now hopefully we got the French drain on the exterior, so we won't have any more water intrusion here. So at this point it's all reassembly and cleanup. And I think getting those studs true is going to be another very tedious chore. We'll just have to work at it. And then I'm going to probably put trim around the ceiling where the meets the drywall. I'm going to try to paste it. Might put another layer of caulk up there in between, but that's about it. And then down here, I'm going to put some of the adhesive in areas where it can be forced into between the existing OSB and the foot 2x4s. And that's it so far. Just waiting for Chris to get back for some materials. Then I'll finish up that outside and we'll get the OSB up at least. And then we'll work on the hardy board. And of course I had to cut some wires, so we're going to have to rerun some wires through the studs before I put the interior back up. We're getting there. We'll be back. All right, we got the OSB board up. Got the one end cap anchored down. Everything's sealed up. And the next step is to cut the hardy board for the exterior and get that in place. Then I'll come back in and seal this up a little bit more, clean that up a little bit, and probably put one more stud right in the middle to help anchor down the hardy board. And here's the exterior look. Of course, we've had to dig this out, clean it out. The condenser drain for the air handler was buried in the sand. It was clogged up, and of course this is where termites probably had gone in initially. It was basically just open. It was buried underneath the sand. It was not sealed properly, so we're working on getting that sealed. Otherwise, this is good. It's in place. Just had to put one more stud center line, and then we'll use that to screw in the hardy board also. Okay, as you can see, we got the hardy board on. Got it well sealed all the way around. I'd use construction adhesive instead of caulk multiple times, layering it out. So it was under the OSB, it was between the OSB and the hardy board, and then of course sealed in the hardy board itself. Got a bit of a lip here. I'm mildly contemplating stucco to smooth it out, but we'll see. Might just end up painting it and calling it good. Up here we got a gap from previous installer. I'm just going to buy some caulk and caulk it in really well, a paintable caulk, and then of course paint over it. But we definitely got it sealed well. This area too, this was the worst, where the conduits came out. Still gonna put this in a mortar bed, but we'll get it done. And that's it for now. All right, we'll tackle repairing this thermostat wire. Not exactly sure what happened to it. Probably a combination of just deterioration, maybe a stray weed eater. Not sure. So I have to cut it probably around in this area. Peel back the insulation, splice in some new, and of course splice it on both ends. Yeah, might just be able to get one splice, then use shrink wrap, heat shrink. I don't know if I got enough heat shrink to go. Might be easier to cut both. Anyway, we'll find out. So just a quick Western Union splice, solder it, heat shrink it, do the other end, connecting it to here, one at a time, and then slide a total shrink tube over the whole thing, and we'll be done here shortly. And there's the finished product, soldered, shrink wrapped, or heat shrinked. Put a new loom on it and zip tied it to the pipes, so hopefully that'll stay out of the way of the weed eater and other things. I've got to cut this off, put a new 90 on it, raise it up a little bit. It's pointed down too low before I put the end on it. We'll be back. And here is after a bit of paint. Got the new PVC drain on there for the air handler. Got all that sealed up down there. And we will be painting the rest of the wall. We just wanted to get this attended to before we put some of that trim that was up back on. We got everything caulked in that was exposed earlier, so we are going to put the trim back on top of that. And we got to start on putting the drywall up. A little bit of a slow go. Of course, whenever you're retrofitting anything, everything's out of square, so it always creates a little bit of a hassle. Plus, in the electrical boxes, they all had to be drawn out away from the wall a little bit, so I had to pry these loose and re-nail them in about 7/8 of an inch out. And I don't know if I showed this earlier, but we doubled up on the studs here. So at this point, it's just a matter of reattaching the electrical wires. Got to put in a couple termination boxes to recapture them. Then get the insulation up and back on the drywall. Over here I still got to pull the boxes out a little bit further. Got one here and one here, no big thing. And of course the switch. We're getting there. Hopefully it's going to turn out the way we want. We'll be back. Alright, we installed 2 boxes just to correct the cutting of the wires that I had done earlier. We just spliced them in again and twisted all the coppers together. So it's all active. Everything's good. Now we're ready for the insulation and the drywall. We'll be back. There's the finished bit of wiring done. 2 junction boxes. Wires run through the studs. Everything's cleaned up. And it's all good to go. Alright, on the insulation and second piece of wall board up. Got the outlets pulled out. And hopefully we'll get this wall done tomorrow for sure, and on to the next.